So XREAL, formerly known as NREAL, has sent out their latest pair of AR glasses, and they were kind enough to partner on this video. And the new glasses are called the XREAL Air 2 and the XREAL Air 2 Pros. Now, I reviewed the original XREAL Airs, and I thought they were a really cool device because essentially what you get is a massive display that are embedded inside of a pair of sunglasses. Like, think about that. You're carrying a display up to 330 inches in your pocket. You can't do this with a regular monitor, it's just too big. But the fact that it's in a pair of glasses is mind-blowing. Now, you do get a bunch of stuff in the box. You have the traveling case, the XREAL Air 2s or Pros, the 3 nose pads, a light shield, you have prescription lens frames, you have a USB-C cable, and you do have a cleaning cloth. They have changed a few things compared to the previous XREAL Airs from last year. For example, you do have a field of view, which is now 46 degrees. It's a little bit less, but they have increased the PPI to 4,032 pixels per inch, which means you get a more pixel dense display. Like, things just look a little bit more crispy. They have upgraded the lenses to the Sony 0.55 micro LED displays, and it's been bumped up to 500 nits of brightness from 400 compared to the previous one. They're 10% thinner, they're a little bit more lighter, and they all support 120 Hertz. Even the original XREAL Air supports 120 Hertz with a more recent firmware update. Now, the design is very similar to the previous model. I think they look very stylish for a pair of AR glasses. They don't take over your entire head. You know, you can still see the outside world if you want to. You're still approachable. They don't mess up your hair since they sit on your nose and your ears, which is something I'm really appreciative of. I think overall they feel good. You know, they're nice and secure. They feel like a solid pair of glasses, mostly made of plastic, but solid overall. Tons of technology embedded inside of here. For example, you have 2 speakers, open air speakers. They sound really good. You know, like, they're not going to replace a good pair of headphones, but like if you're just in a room by yourself, there's not a lot of background noise. They sound really good. And there's a little bit of spatial audio going on with it, so it gives you good separation. You have a dual microphone array, so you can use these headphones as a microphone if you're talking to someone during a phone call. Noise cancellation, beamforming, there's a lot of little things to make the audio better. You do have a couple of buttons on the bottom. For example, you have your power button over here, and then you have a rocker over here which adjusts the screen brightness. If you long press it, then you can control the volume as well. On the front, you have a little sensor over here which detects whether you take the glasses on or off, and of course you have your nose pads to keep them comfortable on your face. But look, the big deal for me is the display. Like, the display is the most important thing. And I've used a lot of headsets. I've used tons of virtual reality headsets. And the fact that they're using micro OLED makes a massive difference. Because if you've ever looked at an OLED display on your phone, you get to see those inky blacks. Like, you'll be watching something, right? And you'll have that saturated color that you'd get from a typical OLED display on your phone. And it's really cool to see through a headset. But even though it's 1080p, I still feel like because you're using OLED, it just looks a lot better than comparable IPS displays. And speaking of displays, there's definitely different ways of viewing the content on the screen. Before, like, you'd plug it in and then wherever you look, the screen would move with you. Like, you can still do that. It's called air casting. But because it's at 120 Hertz, you don't get any of that motion smoothing sickness. That's completely eliminated because of the higher refresh rate. But I highly suggest buying an XREAL Beam. This device makes these glasses even better because you get a bunch of different modes to play with. Like, for example, if you buy this, you can use a thing called body anchor, which basically fixes the gigantic screen right in the air. So no matter which way you're turning your head, the screen stays planted. This is really important because if you're going to be using these glasses for gaming and like you're playing a game and you're looking around the screen, you don't want the screen going everywhere. So if you can anchor it, I personally think you get a much better gaming experience. Now, if you do use any of these modes, it will drop down the high refresh rate from 120 that you got in air casting to about 72 Hertz, which is absolutely fine because if you're going to be connecting this to a Nintendo Switch, the highest it runs is like 60 FPS if you're lucky. And this goes to 72 Hertz, so you're not gonna have any screen tearing. There's also smooth follow, which basically minimizes the display movements when you're looking back and forth. And then there's slide view, which basically shrinks the display down to about 20 inches and you can put it off to the corner. Now again, I highly suggest picking up an XREAL Beam. It makes the experience so much better. For example, you have 2 Type-C ports on the bottom. One of them is used to connect the actual glasses. And then the other one is your display in. Okay, so whatever device you're connecting to, whether it's Type-C to Type-C or Type-C to HDMI, you will use this port. And whenever you're not using the XREAL Beam, you use the same port to charge it. This device will power your glasses for around 3.5 hours before needing to be charged again. There's a 4870 milliamp hour battery inside of here, which I think is more than enough for most use cases. You can also charge this to 50% in just 30 minutes because it does support 27 watt fast charge. Lots of buttons on this device. For example, on the right hand side, you have your volume rocker. You have your scroll wheel, which allows you to move around the menus. You even have like Netflix and Prime Video directly on this. You don't have to use your phone's application. You can just do it from here if you want, as long as it's connected to a Wi-Fi network. You can increase or decrease the screen size using this wheel. Personally, I like 120 inches. You can also change the distance of the screen from your eyes. If you want it further away, you can totally do that to give you more of a movie screen experience. In fact, that's probably the best way to describe this experience. It's like you're staring at a movie screen. Like imagine you're in the theater and you're like, let's say, I don't know, 8 rows up. That's what it feels like to use these glasses. So it's like you're always in a movie theater with a massive display to utilize. This little button over here brings you home, and then on the left-hand side, you have your toggle that lets you switch between body anchor or slide view and the other options. But look, this is how I use these glasses, and there's a bunch of cool ways that I've really come to enjoy. First of all, if you have a Samsung Galaxy phone, it works perfectly. Like you just connect it, it automatically pops up, you're ready to go. But the coolest thing is Samsung Decks. Like as soon as I connect these glasses to my phone directly, Samsung Decks pops up. I get a massive desktop experience to utilize. Absolutely awesome. You can use your phone as a touchpad, and then you can connect a Bluetooth keyboard, and you have a massive desk setup wherever you are in the world. But of course, you can disable that and then just basically screen mirror your phone and use it normally as a bigger display or launch into some of your favorite applications. Now, it doesn't work with every single Android phone. It works with most of the Samsung Galaxy devices. Like for example, this is not going to work with my Google Pixel, but there's a long list of devices that you can choose from. It works with the iPhone, especially better now that the iPhone 15 Pro Max or iPhone 15 now supports USB Type-C. You don't need a lightning adapter anymore. You can connect it directly to the phone, which is absolutely massive. And just like the Samsung Galaxy device, the screen automatically pops up. You can go into any application and start utilizing these glasses. The other way I've been using it is by connecting it to my ASUS ROG Ally gaming console. And this is awesome because I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4 on the go. And even though, you know, the ASUS ROG Ally has a fairly decent sized display, but again, it's tiny, you know, like I'm old. I'm 95 years old, okay? I don't want to be staring at a small screen. So the fact that I can just place these glasses on, have a 120-inch screen of Diablo 4 in front of my old eyes is absolutely awesome. Like such a big deal. And it runs perfectly. Like there's no slowdown when I connect these glasses to the gaming console. And obviously it works with the Nintendo Switch. I was playing Tears of the Kingdom using these glasses. And again, I'd rather be looking at Tears of the Kingdom on a massive display than a tiny one, at least for me. The other cool thing is if you're sitting in a plane, you don't have to hold your phone like this to watch a movie, or you don't have to place it on a table and then stare down and crank your neck and then have back problems by the time the flight is over. You just pop these bad boys on, you stare straight or you stare up, your phone's on the table because it's out of the way, and you just watch a movie. Like it's so much more comfortable. And because these are not a bulky, heavy headset, it's not tiring to keep these on your face. You know, it feels very comfortable. It's pretty crazy. Over the span of a couple of years, XREAL has become one of the best-selling AR glasses that you can buy today, and they're launching in the UK as well. Now, right now, they are for sale for about $399 for the Air 2s and around $449 for the Air 2 Pros. Again, the only difference between the Pros and the Air 2s is the electrochromatic dimming. Basically, you don't need this cover in the front of your glasses because the glasses will dim for you, which I think is actually pretty cool. If you're interested in picking up any of these devices, I'll place links in the description down below. But again, if you are buying them, I highly suggest picking up the XREAL Beam to go with it. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.